Most horror movies start with a ghost, a masked killer, or a monster in the woods. But this story? It starts with a piece of furniture. A coffee table so ugly it shouldn't even exist. Meet Jesus and Maria. They're new parents, and like many couples, they're exhausted, bickering, and struggling to find their new rhythm. Maria is the boss. Jesus is, well, he's tired of being told what to do. In an act of small, pathetic rebellion, Jesus insists on buying this hideous, gold-plated coffee table against Maria's wishes. The salesman tells him it's unbreakable. He tells him it will change his life. The salesman wasn't lying. By the end of this afternoon, this table won't just change Jesus's life. It will destroy it in a way so horrific, so unthinkable, that you might want to turn this video off right now. Because once you see what happens next, you can't unsee it. Jesus struggles up a narrow staircase, dragging an enormous cardboard box that barely fits through the hallway turns, his breathing growing heavier with every step. Inside the box is the new coffee table, a purchase he insisted on despite Maria's objections. By the time he reaches their apartment floor, sweat-soaked and exhausted, he runs into a few neighbors, and the moment turns strangely uncomfortable when Ruth, a 13-year-old girl from the building, pulls him aside. She speaks to him in a disturbingly intimate way, confessing a fantasy where the two of them are together. Jesus awkwardly shuts it down, reminding her it's nothing but imagination, yet the discomfort lingers. Earlier, she had even tried to kiss him in the elevator, openly flirting, completely disconnected from reality. Inside the apartment, Jesus begins assembling the coffee table, carefully lowering the thick glass slab onto the frame, only to realize something is wrong. The glass wobbles. One screw is missing. His frustration explodes almost instantly, especially when Maria offers no sympathy, reminding him she never wanted the table in the first place. Their argument escalates quickly, circling back to the same resentment. The coffee table is the only thing in the entire house Jesus chose for himself. Furious, he calls the salesman and demands the missing screw be delivered immediately. Maria eventually leaves to buy groceries for the small party they're hosting later that night, leaving Jesus alone with their baby. The child won't stop crying, and Jesus wanders the apartment trying to calm him, rocking him, pacing, growing more frantic by the second. Then, without warning, the sound of shattering glass fills the room. A sharp, violent crash, followed by sudden silence. The crying stops. There is nothing left but Jesus's heavy breathing. The reality sets in slowly, horrifically. The glass table has collapsed. Blood is everywhere. His infant son lies lifeless among broken shards. This is not a nightmare. There is no waking up. His life has ended in an instant, and he is still standing in the room. Elsewhere, Maria shops peacefully, laughing with strangers, helping other customers, even running into an old friend. She has no idea what waits at home. The film cuts between her calm normalcy and Jesus, still frozen in shock, barely able to comprehend what he's seeing. When Maria calls, her friend congratulates Jesus through the phone, but he can't speak. He hangs up, leaving Maria annoyed, unaware that everything has already been destroyed. Panicking, Jesus places his son back into the crib, pretending nothing happened, choosing denial over reality. Instead of calling the police, he begins cleaning. Blood, glass, everything must disappear. When he can't find supplies, he rushes upstairs to Ruth's apartment, asking for help. He tells Ruth and her mother he's painting a room red, gesturing to the stains on his clothes. They believe him. As he rushes back downstairs, the salesman has arrived with the missing screw. Calmly, obliviously, he explains that while the glass is strong, tightening the screws correctly is essential to prevent it from breaking. None of it matters. Jesus slams the door in his face.
He scrubs the apartment obsessively, desperate to erase the truth, until he discovers something far worse. The baby's severed head hidden beneath the sofa. He completely breaks down. With Maria due home any minute, he washes himself, composes his face, and waits. Maria rings the bell. Jesus hesitates, even considering jumping off the balcony, but her pounding interrupts the moment. He opens the door and lies, telling her the baby is finally asleep and must not be disturbed. This lie seals everything that follows. Maria laughs when she sees the shattered table, calling it karma for buying something so ugly. She's furious about the ruined rug. As she mocks the unbreakable glass, a tear rolls down Jesus's face. He alone knows why it broke. As they prepare dinner, Maria continues mocking him, cruel without knowing it. She goes to check on the baby, but Jesus stops her just feet away from the crib, insisting he'll handle it. A baby monitor comes out, and Maria hears a dripping sound. She wants to investigate, but Jesus stops her again. The sound is blood soaking through the crib. He stares at the monitor, claiming it's malfunctioning, even hallucinating voices coming through it.
The doorbell rings. Jesus's brother Carlos and his girlfriend arrive. Conversation turns to the coffee table, and they insist on seeing the baby. Jesus panics, repeating that it took forever to get him to sleep. Eventually, he compromises. They'll see the room once the baby is out. The nursery looks perfect, warm, filled with toys, a future that will never happen. Dinner begins. Laughter, chewing, conversation. All of it becomes unbearable to Jesus. His senses are overwhelmed. He doesn't eat. Everyone notices. Questions about parenthood come up, briefly softening the mood, but every word is torture. He hallucinates again. The baby monitor praising the coffee table, promising happiness. Then Carlos announces his girlfriend is pregnant. Jesus can barely react. He lashes out, storms away, declaring the coffee table the biggest mistake of his life. In the bathroom, he records a message for Maria, planning to kill himself. Carlos overhears everything. They argue quietly. Carlos insists they must tell Maria the truth, but gently. She can't see the body like this. Before anything can be decided, Ruth arrives, just as she promised. She tells Maria that she kissed Jesus in the elevator. Everyone gathers in the dining room as tension suffocates the space. Ruth's dog starts digging under the couch. What it uncovers stops time. The baby's head. Chaos erupts. Carlos grabs it, shielding Maria, screaming for her to leave. But it's too late. Maria collapses, holding her son's head, her screams piercing the air. She leaps from the apartment. Jesus follows. The police arrive. Carlos sits in shock, repeating only 2 words over and over. The coffee table. As the film ends, we see them together, Maria, Jesus, their child, and the object that destroyed everything. The coffee table is a masterclass in anxiety. It takes a mundane object and turns it into a weapon. It takes a normal domestic dispute and turns it into a tragedy. There are no ghosts here, just a clumsy man, a cheap table, and a mistake that can never be fixed.